now, because I recognize it's one of the reasons why I like the compounding, because if you write it down in a spreadsheet how much your 1% a week or your 2% a week is, it's actually a really small amount of money, well, compared to what you think emotionally that you want to gain that week. And I don't try and win as much money each week as I did before, and actually in the longer term it's made me more profitable.
That's excellent. I think someone here, Daniel P, has done the math, and I did the math for compounding profits, and the most I got for 1% is around 77,000. For 2%, 133,000. Could you upload the spreadsheet you used to calculate that? I think remember, Daniel, one of the key things here is, and this is obviously something that we talk about in the Daily Trader, about getting your precise risk, right? So there's a big difference. When you get your precise risk, you literally will make millions more over the lifetime of your trading system. Because when you don't have precise risk, you have to adjust up or down based on whether you want to take more than 2% or less than 2% per trade. So Nicola's talking about essentially compounding weekly, right, Nicola?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I really want to move into doing the weekly charts and maybe compounding monthly, but at the moment I haven't quite made that step psychologically.
Of course, got it. All right. What do you do when you break your rules? For example, have you ever moved your stops or taken bigger risk than usual? Asks Sandeep.
Oh, sure. I mean, who hasn't? I mean, I was doing, again, that's something I was doing a lot more last year than I do now. And I think that's just, it's almost like, it feels like growing up. I feel like last year I was a teenager kind of pushing the limits because I wanted to know where the limits were. And then when I brought my account back to break even, it was kind of like, okay, that's where I don't want to go. And now I exercise more self-control. I mean, it really does feel to me just like growing up. I don't know if that helps. But.
That's a great analogy. That's a great analogy. Malcolm is wondering, okay, this is a great question, Malcolm. I just don't get it. We are told to be unemotional, use strict money management, trade the same
Oh, no.
Sorry?
No, I wouldn't say be unemotional. I mean, I don't, it's important not to take trades based on emotional reactions, but you have to feel your emotions. I mean, emotions are part of being human. You can't fight emotions, and to suppress them just makes them, they come back and hit you in the face in another way, in probably a worse way. No, I completely disagree that you should be unemotional. It's one of the things that I get a little annoyed about in trading books, where they talk about the kind of unemotional trader, because I'm not an unemotional trader. I'm a very passionate person, but I just don't, I try not to be reactive. I try to use my emotions as my signposts rather than my trigger, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, and that's great. That's a great point, because I think part of part of your core beliefs, and I don't want to be putting words in your mouth, but one of sort of your themes for life is this idea of embracing life and being in the moment and living life and experiencing it. And without emotions, I don't think that you would say that you're really experiencing life. Is that fair to say?
Oh, completely. I mean, I really try to avoid any shade of grey in my life. and like I said at the beginning of my slides, I mean, I welcome the pain as much as the great moments, because you learn so much from pain. And yeah, it sucks to go through it, but actually you get, I mean, that's where the old-fashioned term of someone having character comes from. I mean, you have to kind of just work with the emotion, and and use it to your advantage. I mean, you know, adversity is going to hit you. It's going to hit everyone. It's going to hit me. It's, you know, already has hit me. You know, you can't, it's inevitable. So it's how you deal with that adversity that makes such a difference. And that's where I was saying about the mental resilience comes in. You need to emotionally accept right now that you're going to have losing streaks. You're going to have, I don't know, 8 weeks where you've lost in a row, and it's going to really suck, and you're going to feel like, you know, you're the most crap trader ever. But you're not. That was yesterday. Move on. You know, what is it Darren says? Reset. Oh, I've forgotten what he says. But it's, you know, it's reframing the way you're looking at it. It's really important.
So Dennis is wondering how you manage overtrading. That's a big enemy for him, and he's just wondering what can you possibly do, or what do you do? He's looking for an answer there.
I guess. Oh, I know what I do. I I have a watch that vibrates every 4 hours. It tells me when my candles are ready to be looked at, much like a timer when I'm cooking a cake in the oven. I go out and I make sure I get out the house, and I go and play with my daughter, and I just I recognize that it's a bit like driving. You know, when you've got your hands on the steering wheel, if you are gripping the steering wheel too tightly, you're not going to drive as well. If you try and hit the brake, or something comes in the road ahead of you, you're going to overreact on the steering wheel. If you think of it like that you are improving your trading because you're loosening your grip on the steering wheel, so that it's you know, you've got two hands on the wheel, but it's not, you're not gripping it too tightly. I think maybe that would help. I mean, I think it's about also trusting your system and trusting your judgment, and trusting that life isn't always going to send you a loser.